I'm not one of these people that says cannabis is bad. It has certain medical purposes. However, high THC that's vaped in particular, because it hits the bloodstream and brain so fast, and if that's used in young people, for young people that have a predisposition to bipolar or schizophrenia, it can trigger psychosis later in life. I'm basically a live and let live kind of type. You know, I'm not one to tell people what to do. If people have tendencies toward bipolar, smoking very high THC cannabis is really risky. And that's just what we've seen over and over again. There's these huge data sets out of Canada that show this. And again, I'm not trying to shut down the cannabis industry. I think it's really interesting what's happened.
What is very high THC? Sorry.
It's the percentage, it's going to be the ratio of CBD. So when you start getting past like 50-50 ratios, and like, and you can buy pure THC now. People are vaping pure THC.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, which is, you know, and if you have a stable mental constitution, you're healthy in other ways, maybe it's fine.
Here is Joe Rogan's experience with marijuana withdrawals.
My friends, we just got done doing Sober October. So no alcohol, no marijuana, no nothing. Well, we drank coffee, but that's it. When I stopped smoking marijuana, the first thing that happened is my dreams became rocket charged. Very bizarre, crazy, lucid. Not lucid in the sense that I controlled them, but lucid in the sense that I realized I was dreaming. And I would wake up from them and be certain that what I had done was real. I had one dream that I fell asleep on the couch. I did fall asleep on the couch. But while I was asleep, I was like, oh, I'm struggling to get this blanket over me while I'm on the couch. And I'm pulling it, but it's stuck under the cushion. When I woke up in the morning, there's no blanket. There's no blanket anywhere near me. It didn't exist. Very primal dreams, too, like being chased by wolves and running into bears and caves, and really bizarre, very, very vibrant colors. Apparently, from what I've read, marijuana does something to suppress REM sleep, and that in taking time off of it, your REM sleep just gets jacked through the roof. We all experienced it. All my friends who did it experienced it.
I'm not encouraging people to take anything, but there's a very, very famous Nobel Prize winning neuroscientist who I went to his office to visit him in New York, and he chewed 7 pieces of Nicorette during that half-hour meeting. And I was like, what is going on here? And he said, well, first of all, it increases plasticity. And second of all, he has the belief, and this is not a clinical study, but he thinks that it can also hold off certain forms of Parkinson's and Alzheimer's.
His beliefs may be what saves him from all these diseases because...
Guess what? Whatever you learned and believe, that's what happens. My colleague Ali Crum, her name is Aliyah, but she goes by Ali Crum, is a professor of psychology. She studies mindsets and the power of mindset. And here's the interesting thing. She's taken 2 groups of people. One group watches a movie about stress, the other group watches a movie about stress. The first group watches a movie about stress and learns all the true information about stress. It disrupts your memory, it causes deficiencies in decision-making, and blah, 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 all the terrible things that stress can do. The other group learns all the positive things that stress can do. It can activate your immune system, can sharpen your focus, can enhance your memory if it's done in the appropriate way, etc. Then you test people with a number of things like memory tests. You test their immune system. You do blood draws. You look at how much stress hormone they're making. Guess what? Whatever you learned and believe, that's what happens. They've done the same experiment with 2 milkshakes. Okay, you give one group a milkshake, you tell them this is a high calorie, high fat, high sugar milkshake, there's lots of nutrients in it. You give the other group a milkshake, you say this is a modest to low calorie milkshake. Then you have them drink the milkshake, you take blood draws and you look at the insulin response, you look at the amount of ghrelin, which is a hormone that's secreted in response to hunger, it makes you hungry basically. And guess what? It's the same milkshake, and yet you get higher insulin response to the high calorie, the thought that it's a high calorie shake. You get lower insulin, you still get an insulin response in response to the idea that it's a lower calorie shake. The ghrelin response is suppressed, so you get, your hunger doesn't show up for longer if you have the so-called high calorie shake, staves off hunger. Whereas if you have the low calorie shake, you're hungry again earlier, and ghrelin levels go back up early, all based on belief. And there are numerous things like this. And so Ali's words are the best words for this, and I'm probably not going to get them exactly right, but what we do and the physiological consequences of what we do is the consequence of what we do, what we eat, how we exercise, but also what we believe about what we do.
Now here are some fun facts about the effects of alcohol.
8% of people have a mutation in a gene such that when they drink alcohol, it increases their dopamine levels very quickly and they get euphoric. They feel great. But in certain Scandinavian countries, Northern European countries, this gene tends to be more prevalent. It offsets all that sedative property and they can just go and go and go. This is the person who's doing a case a day or at the party and just shot for shot and just looking like they're improving in function.
Who's that? Huberman, calling him right now. Hey, Andrew, you are given one sentence you get to share with America about alcohol, what would that one sentence be?
The data on alcohol indicate that not drinking any alcohol is better for you than drinking a little bit, despite what you've read.
Fuck.
And that most healthy adults can safely consume
There we go.
1 to 2 drinks per week before the negative effects of alcohol start to set in.
You're cutting out. You're cutting out. You're cutting out. I can't hear you.
The negative effects of alcohol include, I'll just be really clear, very clear effects on increasing leaky gut, liver, obviously, increased cancer risk, potential dementia risk. But look, I'm not here to dictate what people do and don't do. They should just know the risks. And everything that we do health-wise is on a backdrop of the foundational things, like getting enough sleep, getting sunlight, limiting stress, getting exercise, good nutrition, good social connection, etc.